I discovered Sunny Pines HOA was building 96 luxury homes on my inherited farmland. But when I found my grandfather's original property surveys, their entire development suddenly became my legal property. You should have seen their faces when I revealed my trap at their own community meeting. I never thought I'd have to fight for land that already belonged to me. When Grandpa Joe died last March, I inherited his 200-acre farm outside Meadow Creek. The place had been in our family for generations, but I lived far away with a busy job that kept me from visiting often. One Tuesday, at 6 a.m., I got a call from Mrs. Thompson, Grandpa's neighbor for 40 years. "They're building houses on your property," she said, shaking with anger. "Big yellow machines started digging yesterday. You need to come quick." I packed my bags and drove straight to Meadow Creek, breaking speed limits the whole way. When I arrived, I saw bulldozers and excavators tearing into the soil where Grandpa used to grow corn. A large sign near the road read, "Future home of Sunny Pines East, 96 luxury homes starting at $450,000. I approached a woman standing by the site. She was neat, despite the dust, holding a clipboard. "Excuse me," I said. "What's happening here?" "We're preparing for residential development," she replied smoothly. Diane Reynolds, Sunny Pines HOA president. She extended her hand without warmth. "This is my land," I said, ignoring her hand. "My grandfather Joe Miller owned this farm. He passed away recently, and I inherited it." Diane smiled thinly. "There must be some misunderstanding. Sunny Pines Development purchased this parcel last year. We have all the necessary permits." "That's impossible," I shot back. "Grandpa would never sell his land." I demanded to see the documents. She handed me a card for her legal department and said, "You're welcome to contact them." "But we have everything in order." "Back at the farmhouse," Mrs. Thompson explained, "they started measuring 3 months ago. Your grandfather was furious. He said they had no right." I asked if he mentioned selling any land. "No, Joe always swore this farm would stay in the family," she replied. I went through Grandpa's office and eventually found a hidden metal box. Inside were his will, the deed to the farm, and several surveys, including one from 1910. The most surprising thing was a letter Grandpa wrote to me. "If you're reading this, someone's trying to take what's ours." Grandpa wrote that developers had tried pressuring him into selling for years, and in his final months, a man from Sunny Pines came asking for easement signatures. He didn't sign anything. The original 1910 survey showed my land was nearly 280 acres, not the 200 acres listed in current records. I called a lawyer, Walter Franklin, who confirmed that the boundary change in county records was highly unusual. He found that a significant change was made in 1997 when Grandpa was recovering from bypass surgery. It was a fraudulent signature. We filed an injunction to stop construction. I also found out that Sunny Pines wasn't just a development project. It was a complex web of LLCs and holding companies, with Diane Reynolds, her husband Thomas, and local officials involved. At the community meeting, I stood up, documents in hand, and revealed that their boundaries were wrong. I showed them the surveys and explained that not only was there new construction on my land, but their clubhouse and 20 homes were too. Diane tried to brush it off, but the crowd was shocked. The next day, I was served with a cease and desist notice, claiming I was trying to commit fraud. They blocked my driveway and shut me out, threatening to make my life miserable. Diane called, offering a settlement if I signed over the land. But this wasn't about money. It was about protecting my family's legacy. I'm ready for what comes next. Sunny Pines doesn't realize they've made a dangerous enemy. And I'm not backing down. Diane's face twisted with fury as the police chief's words sank in. She opened her mouth to protest, but no words came out. Instead, she turned to me, her eyes seething with hatred. "This isn't over," she snarled, her voice low and dangerous. "You think you've won? You've only just begun to make a mistake." But I was done being intimidated. "We'll see about that," I replied calmly, feeling the weight of everything I'd fought for settle into my chest. As Diane was led out of the farmhouse in handcuffs, I could barely suppress a smile. It wasn't just about the land or the HOA anymore. It was about standing up for what's right, for my grandfather's legacy, and for the dozens of families who had suffered under Diane's reign of terror. The police chief turned to me once Diane was out of earshot. "You should be proud of yourself. This isn't a small victory." I nodded, still feeling a sense of disbelief that this was really happening. But I knew it wasn't over. There were still a lot of battles ahead. That night, I went to bed exhausted but satisfied. The truth had come to light, and things were beginning to shift. I thought of my grandfather, who had always believed in doing the right thing, no matter the cost. And in that moment, I knew he would have been proud. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, more work, but I was no longer fighting alone. The people of Sunny Pines had rallied behind me. We were stronger together. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, I finally allowed myself to feel a glimmer of hope for the first time in months.